In this video, we're going to focus on how we can convert dates that is located in our MySQL database to PHP array, and from PHP array into JavaScript, and from JavaScript we parse it into readable dates for Chartjs. So this is a long process with different items, but let's start to explore how to do this. In this video, we're going to focus on how to parse dates from PHP MySQL database or MySQL database to JavaScript to Chartjs. And this question came from one of my other videos about, here you can watch this if you see this video on how to switch charts to daily, weekly and monthly data in Chartjs. And if you scroll down here, you can see the question came from Janima Kamar. A special thank you to Janima for asking the question, and this is what Janima asked. I'm calling my date from my database using this constant days, and then you can see here the PHP code, which it converts it eventually to a JSON encoded array. How can I apply the date.parse? Alright, so let's start to work on this, because this is not really a Chartjs question, although it's quite related. It's more a JavaScript and PHP related question. However, the question is very solid because we are always using a lot of data in databases or in the charts. So this would probably be most logical. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, and this is a quick note, I'm using a local host here because I'm only able to demonstrate this with a local host or on a server. So that would be number one, because you cannot do it on your own, just on a blank JavaScript file that I normally tend to use as a demo. Next, I'm going to go very quickly because I have this code here already prepared. If you want to understand this code or you want to grab this code quickly, I'm going to refer you to this specific series, Chartjs MySQL database series or Chartjs MySQL database series. And in here, in the first one, you get the first connection. You can watch the comments. I pinned the comment there. You can copy that code. And the second one, you also have to watch to pin that specific comment as well. And get that pinned comment. There you have all the code you need here to copy. But then, of course, you need to change it with the database. All right. So you can copy that one, put it on your file, and then let's start with it. So very important here. I have created a custom table here. And this table is called Tesla, and this is just, imagine this would be stock data. Of course, this is fictional because the stock here, this data is just, I just made them up. And we have basically 4 columns here: ID, date, price, and volume. And basically, we're going to work with this one here, but we want to show these two here on our chart. So how will we do this? So the first thing we're going to do here is just going down here. I'm going to grab this, and this is from video 1 of the series of the database. I'm going to recommend you to watch that one or copy that code there. I'll just put it here up. So then what I will do is the next one is we need to get the default code, which we always get from our chartjs3.com website. Getting started. For some reason, my Google Chrome just gives this error. Anyway, copy this. And what we're going to do is this chunk of code. If you want to understand what this code does, please make sure to watch this video here. And then what I want to do here is the following. I want to paste this below, and then I will grab this title and I will put it up in here, somewhere up. There we are. The title. So we have the PHP first, and this is only one part of the PHP. And then we have the other PHP, which is the next part, which will be basically the command to grab all the codes here. Video 2 of this would explain that specific code, by the way. So if you need that code, watch video 2 in the comment. There's a pinned comment with the code ready. And what we're going to do is we're just going to paste this just somewhere below here. Alright. So once we did this, we can save this. So once we save this and refresh, of course, nothing happens yet. We're connected with the database. We have everything, but we didn't do anything here. Just a quick note here. This is using the chart table. Because if you would copy it, you might have another table name. Might be, if I'm not mistaken, it would be bar chart. But I would recommend you to then get the table, which would be any table you're going to assign to it. In our case right now, select from Tesla. That's a table name. And you see I'm doing this. Sometimes I get an error. And then because of the error, I put in also the basically this the table name, and this would be the table. I guess the area where the table is. I'm not sure what the real term for this is. I will have to search that one time. But basically, it's the group where the table holds the other tables. All right. So this is the group and then the table itself. So very specific. So now what I want to do here, first of all, just to make sure it works, all I want to do here is a basic echo. And in this echo, we will echo out the date. The date is this one here. So we can say here, $, row, bracket, double quotation, and then here, date. Why double quotation? Apparently in PHP, double quotation is a very common practice, while in JavaScript, single quotation is a common practice. Refresh here, and I was expecting an echo. Alright, and for some reason it didn't show anything, so let's start to look here what is going on. So we have this here, echo out. This doesn't show. Oh, alright. It shows, but you can see where it's being shown. It's shown here down. So that is correct. So it does work here. And you can see we get all the dates already here, and it loops them through here one by one. What I want to do now is, maybe we just move it. Let me just move this up more, so it's more visual and clear to see. We just put it in here. So if I save this now and refresh, it will come nicely in this area here, or in this div. So we have this here. What I want to do is I want to make now an array out of it, because this is very important. We're going to create an array, and then afterwards we need to change that, because the issue was when you have the array, what do you do next? So how to create an array? You quickly $. Then we say here we're going to give it a name. This is very similar to JavaScript. Let's say date array equals bracket, and then what we do is here we have this echo here, and what we could do is the following. We can just say here, the date array, we want to look through the date array. And then here we put in this, it's an array, and then we say equal to $, and then, or basically this here, row. What we're really doing here is probably in JavaScript would be called push. We're pushing, we say push into this array, the value here, and then loop through that. That's basically what we're doing here. This is just the same term, but then presented in a different language. So that's it. Alright, so once we have this, what we could do eventually is to echo out this, but we're not allowed to echo out like directly, because if we do an echo, you get an error. So what we need to do here is the PHP version of this, what is print R, that's the one, sorry, I almost forgot. I'm not that common using PHP anymore. And then what we say is we want to print out this array here. So if we do this, and now save that, refresh, alright, we get an error. So let's see, what am I missing? Semicolon here maybe? Save that, refresh, alright. So very important, JavaScript, we don't use semicolons much anymore, doesn't even matter. PHP is more strict, it's a stricter language compared to JavaScript, I guess. So you can see here, we're printing out the values, and I get here this number 1. I do not know what exactly this number 1 is. Doesn't matter for now, but the most important one is basically this one here. We grab this, you can see here the array, and then we grab all of these values here. So what we're going to do now is we have this, and what I want to do, even if we would do here, and this is quite nice, PHP will remember this. So if we do echo, or let's do shorthand for echo, and remove this echo, basically this means echo as well, save that, refresh, there we are. So it works exactly the same here. Apparently there's a number 1 in here. I'm not sure where this number 1 is coming from, but that's alright for now. So what I want to do is the following. We have this array, and we get all of this data here. And what I want to do here is to make sure that this data is eventually parsed nicely. Because you could see here, let's look at this. Here, Janima was referring to JSON echo encode. What we're doing here, and this is very important, when we use encode, we're basically parsing data. And what I mean by parsing is make something readable. What we do is we make it readable from PHP to JavaScript here. So because this is the issue here, how do we communicate from PHP this data into readable JavaScript? That's number 1 here. So let's work on this now. So in here, because we have this, we can start to use this one here. So all what I want to do here is basically say the following. I'm going to say here a console log, and in this console log we say PHP, and in this PHP, or we can do a shorthand echo. Now what I want to do here is we want to grab this, and we do here now, we say the following, we say here JSON underscore encode, because this will basically convert into a readable JavaScript, because PHP here has very similar JSON structure, and this now, but this is PHP readable. We want to convert this now into something readable, and JSON is basically the term or the language that's being read by anything. So we can consistently convert it into JSON, and from there on we can play around with that. So this is very important. Anyway, that's very technical. So if I save this now and refresh, we have this. Alright, I see all weird stuff here. That should not be happening. Let's see here. Alright. So what is happening right now? We have the console log, and the console log is somehow not registering this PHP code here. So maybe we can just do a PHP. Then we say echo. Let's see what's going on here. Why are you not responding as expected? Save this and then refresh. There we are. Alright, just a minute. I'll just check quickly what's going on. Alright, sorry, I noticed something. This caught me slightly off guard. I forgot to put in here the $sign, so it's a variable. So that's why it was not working. So if I save this now and then refresh, you can see here now it works. Console log. We got the array. We have these items here. Now JavaScript is able to read something from PHP. So this step, basically the first step, is now really complete. We're able to get that data from our database. Then we're going to grab it and put it into JavaScript. And now in JavaScript, we must now parse the data into correct data so that the chart can read it correctly. So what we're going to do here now is the next step in here. So what we're going to do here is basically converting all of these items here. So what we need is, well, let's say here, we're going to say here constant, and this constant now we can say, let's say date array JS equals this. So we're going to copy this and put it in there. And once we did this, what we want to do now is basically converting this again, because now if you just only do this, it will only have basically this here. It will be just identical. Let me just show you this so you have an understanding of this. Save that, refresh. Alright, so you can see here array is exactly the same. But what we want to do now, because this is not officially the time structure, and so we'll have to convert that now into a time structure, we're going to parse it into proper dates. For this, I'm going to say here another constant, and let's say this will be, I'm not sure if parse date is the right term, let's say date.js, or date chart.js. Alright, I'm just giving it the name, but this will be converted into the structure that we want it to. So what we need to do here is the following. We're going to use here the array map functionality, because what we want to do is we want to loop through all of these items here. In this case, 5 items. I'm going to copy this. We say dot map, and with map, which is a very powerful function, we can convert items because it will loop through every item in here. So for map, we can say here map, and then we say map date. Alright, and the reference of date is just basically reference to this. This is one date in the array, but it will understand, we'll loop through every specific date here, and date is the most descriptive one, so we can say date, and then, or maybe day, that's alright, day, and then maybe if we need index. Most of the time we don't need. If you only need one, you can basically remove one of these brackets here. But if you don't need, if you have 2, you put these brackets here, or these parentheses here. Anyway, what we're going to do here is the following, then here, curly braces, and then in here, what we need to do is this, because we want to say here, we want to create a new variable or let, and what this really does is the following. We say here, let's call this day.js equals new date converted by grabbing the day here. Doing this, and if we then say return, the day.js, we would return that specifically here, or basically we have to return in here, would basically mean we will push it in here as an array. So if we do this, you will see here now console log what will happen if we do individually, but also here, if I do here console log, you will see we will grab the full value of it, and then you will see here we get the date and time. Let's save this, refresh. Alright, before initialization, fair enough. What happened? Of course, this is not allowed, sorry. This should be probably this one, save that, refresh. There you are. So it loops through it, it pushes it, and then you can see here it gets all the data, but it gets full data here, including the GMT or the Greenwich Mean Time plus 8, or that's basically the time zone where I'm located right now. But there's one issue here. I do not like this one, and this will become later on a clear problem. So we have to solve that. I will show you later on how to do that. What I want to do is first just let's build up the chart right now. So we have that, then you will see why this has become an issue. So to do this, we need certain data here. I need to go here to Chartjs, and in Chartjs we're going to select an ecosystem. Here we're going to grab the date adapter. So if you scroll down here, and I notice that this, they have finally updated this with a newer structure, which makes it look a bit more appealing. So I'm happy with that. So it's also interesting for us to even dig deeper. However, what I need here is the adapter for the date, so the adapters. And then what I will select here, I recommend you do not use moment. Moment is outdated already, or they deprecated it because moment JS itself is not being used anymore. If you only need the date, just only what we're going to do here, go for date FNS. If you need special features, then you go for lookSum, because you want to maybe apply lookSum features in here. Right? This is easier to use, but you need 2 JavaScript files. Here, we only need 1 JavaScript file, just slightly harder to use, or at least the documentation is harder for me to figure out. Anyway, scroll down here, copy this, you can see this one here, the Chartjs adapter date, and that's the one I need. So that's why we only need 1 single file. So reduces our load time. Then what we're going to do is in here, make sure it is after, and I repeat, after Chartjs library has been loaded. Why? This one is dependent on whatever is in here. So if I save this now, go back here. Alright, we've got this. And then scroll down here. And then what I want to do here is to activate the time option. So in here, I'm going to say X. And in the X, we're going to put a new scale. And this scale type will be, what is that? I guess it's time. That's the right term. And then in here, so basically what we do here is we create an object called time. Now we can use this object, time, and then here we say unit, and what we want is just the day. Day is a string as well. So once we got that, make sure you have a comma here. Save this now, refresh, it becomes blank. Why? Because we didn't connect yet the dates in here. So let's connect the dates in here. We get this date chart.js. We put it in here in the labels. So the labels are now converted into dates. Save this, refresh. There you are. So this is the reason why I was trying to show you 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning, because of the GMT of 8 or plus 8, GMT plus 8. So how do we solve that? Well, luckily we can do it quickly just here in the return. And then what we need to do here is the following. We're going to look here, and then we say here, we have the day.js, and then we say dot, and all what we want to do here is set hours. Once we set the hours, parentheses, and then we say 0, 0, 0, 0. Basically we say here, set the hours. What is that? The hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds on 0. So that's basically back to midnight. Save this, refresh. Now you can see here, we have this now nicely converted. And you can see here this has been changed now into milliseconds, which is very nice because this is the best way to calculate and compare dates. And this is basically how you can convert anything from, what was that, from your database to PHP array, and then from there to JavaScript into Chartjs. So if you like this video and you want to go deeper, I highly recommend you to check out this Chartjs series about MySQL database. Covers many different topics here as well.